Hey, welcome back to Buff-A-Touille. Today, we're going to make a delicious dish called dirty rice. I like to eat this dish with shrimp, specifically jumbo shrimp brochette, and you'll see that in another one of our videos. But today, we're going to make the basics of dirty rice. So let's get started. For today's dish, we have a lot of different ingredients that need to go into it. The first thing we're going to start with is preparing what's considered the holy trinity of ingredients for dirty rice, which is a mixture of celery, onion, and bell peppers. So we're going to go ahead and chop those up. I've already started on the celery to get us a good start for today. Then we'll do the onion, the bell peppers, red and green. And once that's prepared, we can move on to the next step. So let's go ahead and finish cutting that up now. All right, so we had a lot of fun cutting those up and they're all ready to go. So we'll be using those in a little bit. But before we could do that, I need roughly 5 cloves of garlic. So we're gonna go ahead and cut those up into somewhere between mincing and a little bit larger than mincing. So we're gonna do those next. Okay, so now we're ready to start making our meat. So we have 1 pound of hamburger. We're gonna put in that. This is a 85-15 hamburger. And then we got 1 pound of spicy sausage. One thing you can consider doing is getting some brats and peeling them out of the skin and putting those in there. Today we just have it packaged that way. So we need to brown both of these. And once we get them slightly browned, we'll go ahead and add some salt and pepper. Now, one thing I want to mention is you can find our recipe today in the description. So we're just going to show you how to cook. If you want to see the ingredients, go to the description and check it out. Okay, so now while this is cooking, we're going to go ahead and add in our salt and pepper and let that season. So get a teaspoon of black pepper. And we want to put in a teaspoon of salt. Then we'll go ahead and we're going to brown these. Get this nice and brown. And once it's ready, we'll push it off to the side. So we'll talk to you in a minute. Okay, so now we've got the meat browned. We're just going to push that off to the side. We want to leave it in there. We want to put it on 1/2 the pan. And then, so we're going to get this off over here. Then we're going to go ahead and put in our trinity. Don't want to leave any of that goodness behind. Okay, and then we'll get this in here. We'll get it cooking, and we're going to cover it for about 5 or 10 minutes. And what we're looking for it to be translucent. So that's our next step. Okay, so we've been simmering for a while. You can see here our veggies look a little different than they did, a little more translucent. So we're going to go ahead and add the garlic now. Now, usually I put garlic in right away, so it adds it's an aromatic, so you want to get it in early, but for some reason, this goes in a little bit later, I think because we want to taste the garlic a little bit more than we normally would. So we want to get it in, and then we got to stir all this mix together. All right, we're going to mix it all together, and then we're going to cover it and let it simmer all together for about 5 more minutes before we add our next item. So we'll see you in a second. Okay, we've been simmering along. It smells beautifully. The garlic's really coming through. You can see here we got a nice little boil going on with it. So now we're going to add a significant amount of ingredients. So we've got a spice blend that we're going to put in, which is a paprika, a Creole seasoning, and sorry, goodness, cayenne pepper. Sometimes I got a lot going on, I just can't think. And that was one of those moments. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to put that in, and then we're going to put in a bunch of rice. So a lot of recipes call for 4 cups of rice. We're going to put in 5 just because you buy it in either 2.5 cup bags or 5 cup bags. So we're just going to do the 5 cups. And then the other thing we're going to put in addition to that, is thyme. So we have some fresh thyme. You're going to put in a half teaspoon of fresh thyme. I'm going to stir this all around for a little bit. After we get it stirred, then we're going to add our broth to it, and then also a bay leaf. So the liquid from all this that will be soaked up by the rice. So it looks like we got this mixed in pretty well. So now we're going to go ahead and put in our broth. Today we're using chicken broth, so we're going to start with a cup of that. See how that goes. We might need a little more just because I put in the extra rice. This should look pretty soupy right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get just another little bit of broth. That's the fun thing about cooking, is sometimes you have to go make a few slight tweaks. Today is one of those days. So that's another half cup. It's always a pleasure when Chloe, our dog, joins us for cooking. She's been walking around, and as you've noticed, I'm a little bit sloppy sometimes, unfortunately, and food winds up on the floor or other places, and she is the benefactor of me and my awkwardness, so good for her. Then we'll add just a little more. What you're looking for is quite a bit of liquid, but the rice needs it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put in 1 bay leaf. Add a little extra flavor. Put that in there, and we'll cover it back up. And then we're going to let this simmer for a while. All that liquid should be soaked up by the rice, and then we know that it's time to enjoy it. All right, so actually we added 2 sticks of butter to this to really make it delicious. Because as we said before, there's 2 things that make the world go round: butter and cheese. This one didn't have any cheese, so we needed the butter to make the world go round. So we're going to go ahead and serve this, and we're going to eat it once it cools down a little bit. All right, so we're going to enjoy this. But before we do, I was thinking, normally when I eat this, I eat it with jumbo shrimp brochette, and that is typically served with a lemon butter sauce that I put on it. So you probably don't see butter in these recipes a lot, but what I do know is when I eat it that way, it's extra delicious. So that's why we added our favorite Kerrygold butter to this, to really spruce it up the way we love it. So we're going to go ahead and have our first bite now that it's cooled down a little bit. It's still really hot. So, word of caution, it holds its heat a long time. With that being said, here's what I can taste. I can really taste the seasoning from the spicy sausage come through. The meat really adds that context to it, so you don't really feel like you're eating rice. You're eating a meal. So it's really good. So you can eat it as a side dish. You can eat it as a main entree. But the important thing is that you eat it and you enjoy it. So thanks for joining us today, and watch for that jumbo shrimp brochette recipe here in the future. Thanks. Thanks for joining us today for another Buff-A-Touille experience.